In case you've noticed, yes, I'm always wearing the same outfit when I teach or lecture. I'll keep doing so until the clothing industry drastically reduce their emissions. But let's talk about Whitehead. Catherine Keller once told me to read Alfred North Whitehead's Science and the Modern World from 1925, and when wise women speak, I tend to listen, so I read it. In that book, Whitehead writes that the scientific revolution is often described as the victory of reason over theological delusions. It's seen as a stage in the history of knowledge where man raised himself above the rest of matter and assumed a godlike position from where the things of the world could be objectified, studied and ordered. But according to Whitehead, that way of viewing things is actually a way of theologizing a historical event that was much more of a stepping down than anything else. It's a great mistake, Whitehead writes, to conceive of this historical revolt as an appeal to reason. On the contrary, it was through and through an anti-intellectualist movement. The scientific revolution was about elevating irreducible and stubborn facts to authority. It was about inviting worms, plants, snails, intestines, and yet undefined thingies and odd creatures into the intellectual debates and turning seminars into dirty hands-on laboratories. It was the birth of scholarly practice that left only little time for study of the divine fathers or abstract ideals. It was an anti-intellectual revolution in the sense that truth and reason, up until that point in history, had always been found in the inherited theological and philosophical sources of wisdom, and now we were suddenly to listen to the worms instead. In that sense, the scientific revolution challenged the established 16th century reason with its unsophistication. But rather than giving in and embracing this stepping down of humanity, this revolution was, in the history of thought, turned into a part of the habitual story of progress. A slight twist from God to man was all it took, and we could keep telling the story of man's journey towards heavenly enlightenment. We made it into yet another sign of the sovereignty of the human species. If Whitehead is right, to continue to describe the scientific revolution as a victory for reason seems to indicate an unwillingness of letting man step down. But if we are ever to restore a sustainable and healthy relationship between humans and their settings, I think we better get over our fear of connecting humanity to mud. I think we better get over our fear of returning to dust. I think it's time the old male couple, God and man, that odd merge of abstraction and white male embodiment, is complemented in thought and in theology by matter, animals, plants, stones, microbes, quants, well, by all the rest really. I think it could be time to explore a kind of worm theology, and I think we need to get our nails dirty when doing so.